Molly invites her best friends over for dinner: Rose, Bianca, Tom, and Stan. Everything goes great. But in the middle of the night, Molly notices that one of her books is missing. This item is very special. Molly hides all her cash in this book, and she has never told anyone about it. Molly questions her friends, but each swears to have nothing to do with the theft. Can you help Molly spot the thief? It's Tom. He's sitting on the stolen book. Detective Tina has received multiple cyber fraud reports this week. People complain that all the money went missing from their bank accounts. Detective Tina heads out to investigate this case. She meets with 3 robbed witnesses and asks them to show her their phones. She expects to find some kind of bug or an app. What do they have in common? All of them have the same app. Bella is visiting India. She leaves her bags in the hotel and goes to explore the local market. Suddenly, a stranger approaches her and offers to buy some gifts. "Madame, I inherited these treasures from my ancestors. They're thousands of years old." Bella gets very excited. She loves rare souvenirs. Bella studies these items carefully and gets furious. "You're a fraud!" How did she know? Take a look at this statue. He's wearing headphones. This golden dish has an engraving, made in 2002, so it can't be thousands of years old either. And now, take a closer look at the necklace. It consists of US 1-cent coins. Back then, no one knew what they looked like. Chelsea is riding a scooter in her favorite park. Suddenly, someone throws an apple at her back and she falls. Chelsea looks around and finds 3 suspects. She decides to question them. Glenda says, "I was just feeding this cute little squirrel and taking pictures." Brittany says, "I just sunbathed on the grass and read a book. I didn't even look your way." And Sergey says, "I filmed a podcast for my followers, so I didn't look around. Maybe the apple just fell from this tree by accident." One of them is guilty. Can you guess who? Chelsea got hit by a red apple with a yellow price tag. But the apple tree, mentioned by Sergey, only has green apples. Meanwhile, Brittany has a bunch of red apples in her bag, and they have similar yellow tags. Uh-oh, busted. Will goes to the restaurant with his friends, Mike, Crystal, and Alex. He orders his favorite cheesecake. He grabs and eats 1 strawberry from the top of the cake and then remembers, "Oh no, I didn't wash my hands. Can you guys please look after my dessert?" After a while, he returns and finds out that his plate is missing. Will questions his friends. Mike says, "Sorry, I received an urgent call from work and went outside." Crystal said, "Your cake looks so delicious that I ordered my own. I didn't see what happened because I also went to wash my hands." And Alex says, "Sorry, I left the table to get this lady's number. I think she's my soulmate." Who took Will's cake? Take a look at Crystal's plate. The very same strawberry that Will took from his cake is missing. So it's probably his dessert, and Crystal is a liar. Someone drew a pentagram on the floor in the principal's office. Can you guess who tried to curse him? It's the janitor. There's a paint stain on his uniform, and similar symbols can be found on his cap. A pop group is traveling by high-speed train. They're going to a big concert in another country. Everything is going great, but suddenly the lights go out. Someone's moving around in the dark, and everyone hears a woman screaming. Finally, the lights turn on again, but one of the singers, Kelly, is missing. The local conductor finds her phone on the floor and questions the witnesses. Jill says, "I was at the other end of the car, and then it got so dark. I don't know what happened." Sam says, "Kelly was next to me. We talked, and then she disappeared." And Paul says, "I felt sick, so I sat down and closed my eyes. I heard something, but I didn't see anything." Who's lying? Jill. She said she was at the other end of the car. Then why is her hair clip lying at the crime scene? Can you find 10 differences between these two pictures? Ready to see the answers? Here they are. What about these cute little plants? Can you see 10 differences between the two pictures? Time is up. I'll bet you failed to spot all 10. Here they are. What about these two images? Can you find 10 differences? Let's take a look at the answer. The police have long tracked Jake. They suspect him to be involved in diamond smuggling, but they don't have any evidence. They decide to thoroughly check his luggage. Jake comes to the airport with a small briefcase. What's suspicious about it? He uses an electric razor. Why does he need any shaving cream? The diamonds must be inside the tube. Billy takes his family to a safari park. Can you spot anything odd? Giraffes don't have horns, and lions don't wear glasses. What about this picture? Can you see what's wrong here? This flamingo is wearing fancy shoes, and the elephant has 5 legs. Oh my. Can you find the fastest tap by eye? The second one. Let's make the task a little harder. Here's a new set of taps. Can you guess the fastest? The first one. Which runner will score the goal? Only the third runner can make it to the final point. Here's the route he should choose. Can you find these 5 items in this picture? Here they are. What about this huge pile of things? Can you dig out these 5 items? Ready to see the answer? Over here. Can you find the right piece? Only the second one fits perfectly. Rob's wife decides to prank him and changes a 6-number password on their safe. She leaves a clue so that Rob could crack the code. Can you help him? Take a closer look at the hint. There's an alphabet with 4 marked letters, but we know that the password consists of 6 numbers. To crack the code, we need to count each letter's position in the alphabet. A implies 1, E 5, J 10, and M 13. So the final code is 151013. Tilda is cooking a love potion. She found a recipe in an old spell book, but unfortunately, the last 3 ingredients are encoded. Here's a hint to crack the first one. I can sometimes be a stick, but I don't come from a tree. I can be spread on your toast. I'm a product that's dairy. Any idea what it could be? Butter, or as they say in Brooklyn, butter. Here's a hint for a second ingredient. I can be small, I can be huge, and very hard to snatch. Carve me out, put in a candle, and light it with a match. What is it? It's a pumpkin. Hey, even I got that one. And now let's try to decode the last ingredient. This thing comes as a small grain, but it's neither rice nor sand. It's often used when cooking, so that food doesn't taste bland. What might it be? The last ingredient for Tilda's love potion is NaCl. Oops, I meant salt. Lily gets an invitation to a wedding party. She comes along and sees 3 weird things right away. Can you spot them too? Take a closer look at the bride. There's a zombie hiding under her skirt. Also, there's planet Earth in the sky instead of the moon. And the clock is going counterclockwise. Well, that's all goofed up. Molly is chilling in her bathroom after a long working day. But can you see anything odd here? She's using a burger instead of a regular sponge. You want fries with that? A dog show competition is taking place in the town. A golden retriever named Toby wins gold. But after the contest, a janitor finds Toby lying unconscious backstage. Detective Tina arrives at the crime scene in 15 minutes. She asks the suspects just one question. What were you doing within the last 15 minutes? Harry, the owner of the rival golden retriever, says, I was brushing my dog. I wanted him to shine like a diamond at the contest. Sandra, the local photographer, says, I was taking pictures of the dogs and their owners. Mr. Frank, the judge, says, I was talking to the reporters. And the janitor, Frank, says, I found Toby and called 911 right away. And then I just left him with his owner and went to clean the toilets. Who's lying? Harry. Why would he need to prepare his dog's hair? The contest is over. Lisa breaks her nail and goes to a beauty salon to fix it. There, she meets 3 manicurists. One of them is an imposter. Can you guess who? It's the third lady. She's using a teaspoon instead of the regular manicure tools. Just another ordinary day in the office. But wait a minute. Can you see anything odd? The lamp doesn't have an electric cord. What about this picture? Anything weird? This businessman is holding an artist's brush. Kyle is a policeman. He enters the local public laundromat after work. There, he sees a crying woman. She yells, "Officer, please help me. Someone stole my clothes. It was my favorite suit." Kyle interrogates 3 suspects among the clients. Lisa says, "I spent the last 30 minutes here, but I always watch movies on my tablet while waiting, so I didn't look around." Ryan says, "I just arrived here to wash my own bed sheets. You can check my bags if you don't believe me." And finally, Nina says, "I had a video call with my boyfriend while I was waiting for my laundry to dry. I didn't have the chance to look around." Who's lying? Lisa. Take a closer look. Her tablet is broken and shut down, so she couldn't have been watching a movie. Can you spot any ghosts in this picture? How about over here? What about this area? Can you spot any ghosts? Hello? Peter is a famous travel blogger. He gets an invitation to visit the fanciest secret beach in the world. But the map has a twist. Can you help Peter choose the right route? Only option B will bring him to the final destination.
Hi, my favorite detective. I've got a new portion of tricky riddles for you to train your sharp mind. Let's start.
Yeah.
One summer night, Emily threw a big party. But in the morning, she discovered that someone had stolen all her jewelry and money.
Oh no!
The police have 3 suspects: Daniel, Emily's boyfriend, Lily, her best friend, and Hannah, the girl's sister. Daniel told the police that he'd been playing computer games with his friend all night long. Lily felt sick and went home in the middle of the night. She said she knew nothing about the theft when the police called her. And Hannah said that she had stayed at the party till 7 a.m. and then had taken a taxi home because nobody could give her a lift. It was dark and she couldn't see anything. Who was lying? Hannah. At 7 a.m. in the summer, it's already light outside. One day, a famous soccer coach went missing right from the changing rooms. The police had 3 suspects, and all of them were from his team. Brandon said that after the training, he'd stayed on the pitch to practice a bit more. He hadn't been to the changing room yet. Andrew swore that after the training, he had gone outside to meet with his girlfriend. And James said, "When I was leaving the changing room, the coach was still there." Who's behind the disappearance of the coach? It's Brandon. He said he hadn't been to the changing room yet. But look, he's wearing not his uniform, but his street clothes. Once, a mad professor kidnapped Zoe and held her in his house. Was he planning to experiment on her? There was no way the young woman could escape. But one day, the scientist got bored.
"You'll have to make breakfast for me tomorrow. If I like it, I'll let you go.
If not, no one will hear about you again.
In the morning, Zoe went to the kitchen and started cooking. But when she turned away from the stove, the scientist threw a whole box of salt into the pot. However, when Zoe served him breakfast, he realized he had to set the girl free. Can you figure out what Zoe cooked? The girl boiled eggs. A man on a motorbike crashed into the window of Mr. Ruby's store, grabbed several expensive watches, and drove away. When the police arrived, Mr. Ruby told them that he was almost sure it had been his nephew, Patrick. The officers went to visit the guy. Because of a heavy downpour, it took them 1 hour to get there. Patrick was at home, together with his friend. "Look at the weather. I haven't been outside since yesterday." Patrick's friend confirmed his words, but the police didn't believe their story and arrested Patrick. Why? The guy's helmet is hanging on his motorbike. If it had been there since the previous day, it would have been filled with rainwater by now. 4 friends went to a cafe together. 2 of them, Linda and Mike, ordered a large pot of blueberry tea. Kirsten took some lemonade, and Oscar opted for orange juice. Half an hour later, Linda and Mike lost consciousness and were rushed to a hospital. When the police analyzed the tea they had drunk, they found poison in it. The main suspects were, of course, Kirsten and Oscar. Why didn't they drink the tea? Kirsten said that she didn't like tea with berries, and Oscar explained that he was allergic to blackberries. Who is the culprit? It's Oscar. He said he was allergic to blackberries, but the tea his friends drank was with blueberries. David worked at a construction site. Once, someone attacked him, and the unconscious man was taken to a hospital. Police officers who arrived to investigate the case had 3 suspects who also worked at the construction site: Alex, Ryan, and John. Alex said, "I was putting all tiles on the roof when the accident happened." Ryan confessed that he'd been sleeping under the tree, and John claimed that he'd been laying bricks at that time. Can you figure out who's lying? Alex was the one to hurt David. The building has no roof yet, so he couldn't be putting tiles up there. You've bought a cute little rabbit at a pet store. The animal can breed every 2 months, and every time it will deliver 5 babies. How many rabbits will you have in a year? You'll have just 1 rabbit. If you want to have little bunnies, you have to buy 2 rabbits. Look at these people attentively. Who is a mer person? Pay attention to every little detail. It's the guy on the right. Look, his hands are webbed. Allison won the main prize of $1 million on a game show. But when the shooting was over, it turned out that the host of the show had disappeared, together with the prize. The police managed to log into the computer in his office. They saw that the host had sent this message to his girlfriend. It looked like the host had told his girlfriend where he was going. The police went to the airport, but which flight was the host going to catch? Can you figure it out? Now let's see, the first 2 letters of Atlas are AT. If we take 3 letters from the word land, it'll leave us with LAN. And the 2 first letters of tattoo are TA. Together, these letters make up the word Atlanta. Hurry to the gate, officers! Jack got lost in the woods. Suddenly, he saw a castle. The man rushed there and was greeted by the owner of the castle.
You have to answer just one question. If you win, I'll show you the way out of the forest. But if you lose, you'll never leave my castle.
Jack agreed. The owner asked,
There are 4 mirrors on the wall. One of them reflects fire-spitting dragon Niren. The second, beautiful mermaid Laura. In the third mirror, you can see a terrifying vampire Sam. And in the fourth, unicorn David. You have to figure out which reflection isn't real, and fast.
the reflection of Vampire Sam isn't real. Vampires can't be reflected in mirrors. A businessman arrived at his office after a long trip and discovered that some important documents had disappeared from his desk. He immediately called the police, and a detective arrived shortly after. After interviewing all the workers, he had a list with 3 suspects on it. They were Emma, the accountant, Sophia, the receptionist, and James, a sales manager. But each of these people claimed that they hadn't even been inside the businessman's office. Still, it didn't take long until the detective figured out who was lying. Can you do the same? The thief is James. Both women wear high heels in the office, but the footprints on the floor are obviously left by sneakers. You throw me when you need me and pick me up when you don't need me. Can you figure out what I am? Right you are. I'm an anchor. How can you increase 66 by 1.5 if you aren't allowed to make any mathematical operations? Hurry up and crack this riddle. Just turn 66 upside down. It was Mr. and Mrs. Smith's wedding anniversary, and Mrs. Smith was going to put on diamond earrings her husband had presented her for their wedding. But when she opened her jewelry box, she saw that the earrings weren't there. She called her daughters, Dora and Laura. I've told you so many times not to touch my things. Who took my jewelry this time? Dora exclaimed, I haven't touched your jewelry box. Laura also denied taking her mom's stuff. I don't even wear earrings. Can you figure out which girl is lying? It was Laura who stole the earrings. Her mom didn't specify which piece of jewelry was missing. Isolde took Merlin to the room where the safe was, but she said he needed to guess the password. Can you help him guess it and open the safe? Looks like Isolde forgot to hide the note with the password. It's right there above the desk. So the password is 6090. Ah, look at these jewels. Merlin headed back to his home kingdom. Once he returned to the castle, he hid the jewels in the king's safe. When the celebration day finally came, the king opened the safe and got terrified. Why? There's a diamond missing from the crown, but Merlin brought it back a perfectly untouched crown, so somebody from the royal staff must have stolen this diamond. Very few people knew the password for the safe. It was Henry, the housekeeper, Jack, the royal counselor, and Merlin. We all know who Merlin is. The king called the 3 men to question each of them. The king asked if they had opened the safe to look at the jewels. Henry said he never knew the crown with the diamonds was in the safe. Jack said that he'd been away running some royal errands the previous day, so he couldn't have stolen anything. Merlin said he had spent the previous day preparing for the big day together with the queen. Who's guilty? While Merlin and Jack's version seem plausible, Henry's version seems a bit off. The king never mentioned the crown, He only asked about the jewels, but Henry gave himself away. He's guilty. Henry couldn't deny he was guilty, so he had to confess that he pawned the diamond as he needed the money. The king couldn't go to the pawn shop to retrieve the valuable stone, so he sent Merlin to do that. When Merlin arrived at the pawn shop, he asked the owner, Mr. Julesson, whether he bought any gems in the last few days. Mr. Julesson said he bought 3 large stones and showed them to Merlin. Can you guess which one is the real royal diamond? Even though at first glance these 3 gems look the same, there's a small mark on one of them. Look, there's a tiny letter R engraved on this stone. Merlin thought that R stood for royal, so he bought the diamond and brought it back to the king. It's finally the celebration day. All the people of the kingdom went to the festival, where they merrily danced and laughed. All of a sudden, the town got covered by a huge dark cloud. Bam! Out of nowhere, a wicked witch appeared, took the princess, and carried her away on her magic broom. She took the princess to a spooky forest and left her alone. Luckily, the princess had a magic pendant that could help her find her way back. The princess touched the pendant, and 3 spirit animals appeared: a butterfly, a hawk, and a caterpillar. What animal should the princess follow to get her back to her kingdom? If you were attentive enough, you might have noticed that at the festival, there were a lot of kingdoms blazons, all of them having a butterfly as their main symbol. Also, the princess has a butterfly embroidered on her dress. So her kingdom spirit animal is the butterfly, and she should follow it. On her way home, the princess stumbled upon one more witch. She didn't seem evil. On the contrary, she invited the princess to her house and offered her a drink. The witch told her she needed to choose between the 3 drinks. The thing was that only one of the drinks was not poisoned. The drinks were tea with sugar, a cappuccino, and hot chocolate. Which one do you think she should choose? Let's see, if it was indeed sugar in the tea, it would have melted completely, but the sugar cubes are still there. The foam on top of the cappuccino is suspiciously yellowish, so it's probably unsafe to drink. So the princess opted for hot chocolate, thanked the witch, and continued her way to her kingdom. When the princess finally went back home, the celebration went on. All of a sudden, 3 knights, Lancelot, Galahad, and Percival, came up to her to have a chat. The princess felt uncomfortable. It seemed to her that one of the knights wasn't a real person. Can you guess who? Yeah, at first glance, these are just 3 handsome knights. But take a closer look. Sir Percival has 6 fingers on each hand, and his ears are weirdly shaped. He must be an alien. The princess thought that if Percival is an alien, there must be more aliens at the festival. Can you spot all of them? The young princess has a sharp eye. There are 3 more aliens looking similar to Percival. Look, there's a woman holding the flowers. She has pointed ears just like Sir Percival. The old man on the left has a similar feature too. And the man in the center is an alien as well. Megan gets her purse back and goes to the festival. At the party, she sees Greg. She wants to come over, but he's already surrounded by 3 pretty ladies who want to dance with him. Only one of them is safe. Can you guess who? The second lady is a werewolf, and the third lady has a vampire bite on her neck, so she's gonna turn into a vampire soon. Therefore, only the first lady is safe to dance with.
Hello.
The next morning after the festival, Greg wakes up feeling sick. He needs a professional doctor, and he's ready to pay a lot. Many fake doctors apply hoping to get Greg's money. Take a look at their profiles. Can you spot the real doctor? The second resume says that Mr. Thomas Hansen was born on November 31st, but this date doesn't exist. November only has 30 days, so this guy must be a fake. As for Dr. Richard Green, there's no city mentioned in the place of birth, only the state. So Greg should pick the first doctor. On Sunday night at almost 10 p.m., Megan goes to the kitchen and brews tea. She leaves her cup on the table and goes to the toilet. Then, Megan returns to the kitchen. She tastes her tea and spits it out right away. Someone put salt in it. The next morning, Megan questions her roommates to figure out who pulled the prank. Lily says, "I was at a birthday party all night. I don't know who did it." Willie says, "I went to the park to watch birds. I invited Noah to come with me, but he refused." And Noah says, "I went to the movies with my girlfriend." Who pranked Megan? Willie. The prank happened at 10 p.m. It's too late for bird watching. Megan is late for an important class. She can take one of these 3 routes to get to the campus. Can you help her choose the best option? Only the second route will take her to her final destination. Megan's older brother Bob is an astronaut. Today, he begins his first space mission. The rocket launch goes smoothly, but soon it begins to fall. Megan calls 3 superheroes to save Bob. Chillman can turn anything into ice. Lady Hour has the power to rewind time. And Mr. Plastic can stretch his body for miles. Which superhero can save Bob? Chillman is pretty helpless in this case. Lady Hour can rewind time, but what if nobody believes her and they launch the rocket again? Mr. Plastic is the best choice. He can reach the rocket and pull Bob out, and then bring him back to Earth. Megan comes to a wild beach to take some pictures and relax. Suddenly, she sees a group of suspicious people standing on the shore. She wants to approach, but the people notice Megan and sprint in the opposite direction. She runs after them on the sand along the water, but can't catch up. Megan looks around and figures out that she was chasing ghosts. How did she figure that out? Megan ran after those people on the sand, but she can only see the footprints of her boots. After the beach, Megan goes to her favorite restaurant. She spots 5 odd things here right away. Can you see them too? The prices should be in dollars, not in square feet. There's a scorpion in this guy's glass. The WC sign on the door is mirrored. The waitress has 3 hands, and this table lacks 1 leg. Megan's school friend Bella is visiting the city and invites Megan for coffee. Megan arrives at the meeting point, but Bella is late. A couple of hours later, Megan begins to worry. She calls Bella and asks where she is. Bella replies, "Sorry, I have an emergency up here. I'm with my grandfather who lives on a farm. There are no shops or any other infrastructure near this house. So I brought him some medicine." Megan is touched. She agrees to postpone the meeting. Bella thanks her and sends Megan a selfie. That's when Megan realizes that Bella is a liar. How did she know? Take a look at Bella's sunglasses. They reflect the word mall. But Bella said that her grandfather lived in a remote area. Busted! Megan buys 2 items at the garage sale. Here's a clue to guess the first one. It's a 5-letter word under you. Remove the first letter and it's above you. Remove the second letter as well and it's around you. What did she buy? A chair. And this is a clue for the second purchase. I look at you, you look at me. I raise my right, you raise your left. What am I? It's a mirror. Preparing his will when he came up with an idea. He would leave his fortune to the son that could crack this riddle. He told his 3 sons to buy something that could fill the entire living room. So the first son went to the market and bought many packages of straw. But when he tested it, there weren't enough to fill the entire living room. The second son bought sticks, but they also weren't able to fill the whole room. The last son bought 2 items that were finally able to fill in the room. Can you guess what it was? He bought a candle and a box of matches. He waited until it was nighttime, lit the candle, and voila! It filled the entire room. Smart thinking, huh? Sarah is a very beautiful woman and 2 men are in love with her. One is a doctor and the other is a florist. The florist needs to go on a trip for a week. But before he left, he gave Sarah 7 apples. Can you guess why he did that? I guess he believed that in popular sayings, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Katie was invited for a picnic in the forest with her best friends. As soon as she arrived at the place, she didn't see any of her friends. Instead, she saw a large group of people standing in a wide clearing. Apparently, she had gone to the wrong location. But right before she left, she noticed that one of these people was a robot. Can you spot who it was? That guy is charging his phone through a cable connected to his leg. Who knew being a robot had its perks? Robert found a gold lamp in his mother's attic. He rubbed the lamp and a genie came out of it. The genie said he would grant Robert 1 wish and asked what he wanted to wish for. Robert went downstairs to consult with his family. His wife wanted to have children. His father wanted to be rich. And his mother wanted to have perfect eyesight again. The genie granted Robert his 1 wish, but all of Robert's family members got what they wanted. What did Robert wish for? He wished for his mother to clearly see her granddaughter swinging on a swing of gold. Smart, huh? Annie was locked inside a room with 4 doors. She could see there were different kinds of dangerous creatures hidden behind each door. On the first door, there was a vampire. On the second door, there was a zombie. On the third door, there was a mummy. And on the last door, there was a werewolf. One of the doors would open in 1 minute, but Annie didn't know which one. She had 3 different items she could use to protect herself: an axe, a torch, or an aspen stake. She needed to choose one that would help her fight any of the monsters. Which ones should she choose? Her best option would be to choose the torch. The torch's fire can scare off any of the creatures and protect Annie. Dr. O'Brien invented a time machine and traveled all the way back to prehistoric times. Take a look at this picture and see if you can spot Dr. O'Brien amongst the other prehistoric people carrying out their activities. That's easy. It's the guy with the flashlight. He must have taken one with him when he time traveled. Sarah was window shopping in her town's local mall when she saw her husband Tom inside one of the clothing stores. She got confused because he was supposed to be at work, so she went inside to confront him. "What are you doing here?" she asked him angrily. Tom said he was picking out an outfit for his company's end-of-the-year party. Sarah immediately shouted that he was a liar and that he was cheating on her. How did Sarah know? Look at the fitting room. Sarah could see the woman hiding behind the curtains. And also, look! Tom has a lipstick stain on his polo shirt. In a kingdom far, far away lived an old lonesome king. The king was worried because he had no heirs to his throne. One day, he came up with an idea. He decided to give each child in his kingdom a seed and promised to make the child who grew the most beautiful plant his heir. 3 months later, thousands of children came to the palace. All of them had amazingly tall and green plants in their hands, but one girl had an empty pot. And yet, she was the one who the king chose to be the future queen. What made him do so? It turned out that the king had given the children fake seeds. The girl turned out to be the only honest child. Sam is a truck driver going from the Sunshine State all the way up north. Driving through a small town, he comes across a very low bridge he can't seem to pass under. The truck is 1 inch higher than the bottom of the bridge, but this is the only road for him to reach his destination. What can Sam do to get through the underpass? He can let enough air out of the tires so that the truck will reach the exact height it needs to go under the bridge. Genius! When Anna got to school, she noticed that her friend Joan was very upset. It was just the beginning of the day, but someone had already stolen her backpack. Anna started her own investigation. Jenna from the robotics lab said she'd been fixing a robot that morning. Kate from the cheerleading squad had just begun practice. And James said he had spent 3 hours trying to solve a math problem and was exhausted. Anna knew right away who had taken the backpack. Can you figure it out? It's James. The school day had just started. How could he have been there for 3 hours already? Sarah was in her hotel room when she heard a knock on the door. When she looked through the peephole, she saw a man standing outside. "Sorry for bothering you, I'm the hotel manager," he said. "Our database crashed and I need to recheck some information." Sarah said she would be back in a moment, got away from the door and called security. She said there was someone in the hotel trying to rob her. How did she know? Look at the man's name tag. It's a female name. He's surely not the real hotel manager. There were 3 thefts at a local supermarket, one in February, one in May, and one in July. Thankfully, the security camera recorded footage of all 3 happenings. The store manager called Detective Moore to solve the crime. The detective noticed one detail that helped him solve the mystery. Take a look at the images Detective Moore saw and see if you can also tell who the thief was. In all 3 videos, there's a pregnant lady. In the video from February, she looks about 7 months pregnant, but in the other videos from May and July, her belly looks exactly the same. This means that she was the thief. She must have been faking the pregnancy all along. On a rainy Saturday night, John and Katie decided to stay in. order pizza, and watch the Riddle channel on their TV. On the screen, there were two women. The first one was stuck inside a cage hanging above an ocean filled with sharks. The other woman was tied to a rope above a lake of piranhas. Both ropes were about to break. Who had the best chance of surviving? It's lady number 2. The first lady is stuck inside a cage, so she has no way of escaping. If she falls into the water, she will most likely not survive. But lady number 2 has both hands free, so she can try to climb the rope back up before it rips. Kai wakes up on a cruise ship. He's in a cabin in total darkness. He has only one matchstick. What should he light first? A newspaper, a candle, or a lamp? Kai should light the matchstick first. Kai leaves the cabin and walks down the hallway. To reach the deck, he needs to enter one of these 3 doors, but each passage has an obstacle. A huge venomous snake is crawling behind the first door. There's a kraken with creepy tentacles waiting behind the second door. And there's a hungry megalodon with sharp teeth behind the third door. What should Kai choose? Kai should pick the third door. Megalodon can't survive without water, so it's not dangerous anymore. Kai goes out on the open deck. He spots 4 weird details right away. Can you see them too? There's Saturn in the sky instead of the sun. This table doesn't have any legs. There's a hula hoop hanging on the deck instead of a life buoy. And this passenger's shadow doesn't match the reality. Kai is starving. He enters the ship's dining hall. Unfortunately, he missed dinner hours. The waiter says that they have only 3 meals left, but only one of them is safe to eat. Can you guess which one? Let's take a look at this pizza. Can you see these metal nuts among the topping ingredients? It's definitely not safe. As for this pudding, there's a spider stuck in it, so Kai should probably choose the sandwich. Kai looks around and sees 3 security guards having lunch, but one of them is actually a thief. Can you spot this person? It's the lady in the middle. Take a closer look at her hat. There's a fake logo on it. The star doesn't match the logo that the other 2 ladies are wearing. Also, she's wearing a fake uniform. Her clothes are underneath. Kai decides to follow the fake security guard. She enters the storage room and puts something inside a safe. Kai wants to find out what she's hiding there, so he waits until she leaves and tries to open the safe. But it's locked, so he needs to enter a 4-digit code. There's a clue in this room. Can you help Kai crack the code? Let's take a look at these 4 suitcases. The number of stripes on them implies the digits in the code, so the password is 3514. Kai opens the safe and finds 2 similar gemstones inside it. One of them is a real diamond, and another is a fake copy made from quartz. How can Kai quickly find out which diamond is real without using any special equipment? He should drop both gemstones into the water. Quartz will float and sink slower because it's less dense than the real diamond. Kai tells the ship's security guards about the thief and goes to his cabin. Suddenly, he sees his neighbor Molly in the corridor. She's very upset. What happened? Someone robbed my cabin while I was hanging out by the pool. They took all my jewelry. Kai explores the space and says, "The thief must be your enemy. It's not a regular robbery. How did he know? Take a closer look at the mess. The thief opened the lipsticks and smeared them on the floor on purpose. Also, all the shampoo bottles are spilled, and Molly's dresses are torn. Why would an ordinary thief waste time on these things? Therefore, the criminal had an intention to cause as much damage as possible. Kai checks the cabin with a special ultraviolet flashlight. Can you help him spot 3 clues? Here they are. Kai goes for a walk around the deck trying to find further clues. Can you spot a superhero around the passengers? Over here. Kai returns to his cabin. Can you find 3 emojis in this room? Ready to see the answer? Here they are. Kai can't find the key to his suitcase. Can you find it in this variety? It's over here. Kai goes to the local smoothie cafe to get some fresh juice. Can you spot 1 extra emoji on this image board? This cactus is the only inedible emoji here. Kai returns to his cabin and sees that someone drew a threat on his door. Kai looks around the hallway and finds 3 suspects. He questions them right away. What were you doing within the last 15 minutes? Sheila says, I was just taking selfies on the deck for my social media. And then I went to my cabin to put on another outfit. You can see it for yourself if you don't believe me. Lily says, I got sunburned in the morning, so I was just laying in my bed, eating and watching my favorite show. And Jean says, I've just finished my workout in the gym, and I'd like to have a shower if you don't mind. Who's lying? Sheila, take a look at the dress in her selfies. It's the same outfit that she's wearing now. Therefore, her story is fake. The ship's security guards interrogate Sheila and check her bags. Can you see anything suspicious in her luggage? This shoe is clearly larger than all the others, and it doesn't have a pair, so she's probably hiding something inside it. The next morning, Kai wakes up very early and goes to the pool. It's almost empty. There's only one beautiful lady chilling on a sun lounger. Kai approaches her to introduce himself, but suddenly, he changes his mind. Why? There are 2 inflatable flamingos in the pool, and also 2 cocktails, one in the lady's hand, and another one probably belongs to her spouse, because she has a tan line on her ring finger. Kai decides to go to the dining area to have breakfast. Can you spot anything odd? What's wrong with this lamp? After breakfast, Kai goes to explore the ship and gets lost in its corridors. Can you figure out which path will lead him to the center? Only path C will actually lead Kai to the center. Kai enters the exit door, but there's another trap. The door slams shut behind him. He needs to enter a 4-digit code to open the combination lock and escape. Luckily, he finds a note with a hint. Can you figure out the code? To solve this mystery, we need to count the number of identical figures in this picture, and the code is 2463. Kai returns to his cabin after 3 hours of absence. Wow, there's a huge gift box on his bed. The card says it's from a secret admirer. Only 3 staff members had access to his cabin today. Kai questions them all. The repairman says,
I entered your cabin 30 minutes ago to fix the sink. It's okay now. But anyways, I'm too broke to bring gifts to the passengers.
The cleaning lady says,
I entered your room about an hour ago to change the bed sheets and take out the trash, but I didn't see any gifts.
And the manager says,
I have a master key, but it's always in my pocket.
Nobody warned me about any gift deliveries. Who's lying? The cleaning lady said she had taken out the trash, but the trash bin in Kai's cabin is full. And there are many flies around it, which probably means that it's not very fresh. So her story must be fake. Now, he's trapped on a deserted island. He only has a mirror and a piece of wood. What should he do to survive? Kai can use the mirror to reflect sunlight onto the wood, creating a signal fire so that the rescuers could find him.